What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Catamas, and welcome to the Awakening World, our Saturday night edition. We have a really beautiful show tonight. Powerful leaders from all over the world sharing wisdom about a very important topic, conscious business. How often do you hear those two words put together? Well, you're going to hear those words together a lot tonight as we meet the leaders that are truly making business conscious, sustainable. And as always, it's Saturday night. We have great music. Tatiana Speed and Omashar are going to be playing some beautiful musical instruments, beautiful music for us tonight. Now, I want to welcome all of you that are in our Zoom room. A lot of our regular friends are here. As always, let us know where you are geographically. And I see already we have people from UK and Alabama and Michigan and California and New England and British Columbia. But also we've got people watching on dozens of Facebook groups and pages, including our friends watching on Unify. And always on Unify, we have people from all over the world. So let us know where you are geographically. It's really fun to see our global outreach because we are the Global Peace Tribe. Now, for those of you that are watching on Facebook or one of our YouTube channels, come on into the Zoom room. You're going to want to be able to interact directly. We're going to take some Q&A, and we've got so many really fascinating presenters, and it's easier for us to interact with you if you're in our Zoom room. So to do that is easy. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register. It takes about a minute, and you'll automatically get the links to all of our shows all the way through September 30th. We do 3 shows every weekend on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. And you register once, you're going to get the links to all those shows. Plus, you'll also get an email every Monday with the replays of our previous shows. And you'll also get information about our upcoming shows. So join the Global Peace Tribe. Welcome. We want you to be with us. Okay. I am so delighted that I get to co-host periodically. She's become like a regular co-host with us, and she's fabulous. And of course, I'm talking about Reverend Deborah Muldauer. She is the executive director of the Evolutionary Leaders Network. She is would also be executive director of the Garden of Light, and just a delightful human being. I so love working with you. And you always bring light and love and joy and wisdom, that wonderful combination, to our show.
Well, the feeling is entirely mutual, Scott. So thank you for that kind introduction. Absolutely. And it's a delight to be here. And it's really a joy for me to be joining with you this weekend in featuring members of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle. And people can find out more about that at evolutionaryleaders.net. And this circle is made up of visionaries in many different fields: authors, teachers, scientists, spiritual leaders. They have a wide variety of interests. And over the last few years, they've been coming together in synergy circles to address these action areas. And one of our first synergy circles was the Conscious Business Synergy Circle. And that's the one we're going to be featuring tonight. And this circle means a lot to me, which is odd because I don't have any background in business. I was in theater before I became an interfaith minister and entered the field of awakening consciousness. But I'm excited because tonight there's somebody on this program who's not part of the Conscious Business Synergy Circle. She is one of our evolutionary leaders and a dear friend of mine, and that's Dot Maver. And Dot and I worked together on a program in 2003 called Share the Spirit of Peace, bringing young people from different parts of the world together. And I don't remember why, but it was during that I had a download about business. I had a huge download about how humanity, or at least the Western world, could come together and pool our resources in terms of our dollars and our euros, the way we vote almost every minute of every day. And we could make a difference in the world. We could have conscious credit cards and conscious doctors and lawyers and not just products. And we could vet the product. I mean, it was huge. You remember, Dot?
I do remember, Deborah. And as you're saying that, I remember why the download, because we were offering Share the Spirit of Peace summits literally around the world after 9/11. In support of the children of the world and in bringing forth this conscious realization that war is archaic and we are shifting from a civilization that supports war to a very conscious culture of peace and creating the conditions for that. And sharing is one of those conditions. So it's beautiful. Yeah,
Yes.
Grateful to be here this evening.
And what's exciting about conscious business is that it can change the world in a heartbeat, in a way that governments can't. You know, we tend to think governments have the power, but really in our contemporary world, businesses with a stroke of the pen can do things that would take years to get through, well, especially the US Congress. So anyway, thank you, Dot, for being here. So the Conscious Business Synergy Circle began with Steve Farrell of Humanities Team, whom we'll hear from in a pre-recorded segment later this evening, and Dr. Kurt Johnson, who many of you know, and he is the coordinator of all of our synergy circles. And the three of us got this moving some years back, and it has grown, it has shifted. There are many members, and we have several members with us tonight, members of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle whose passion is around how do we help businesses to learn that they can be more profitable when they're more conscious and that they can serve humanity at the same time. So I'm going to very briefly introduce you to some of the wonderful evolutionary leaders here this evening. First of all, I want you to meet Peter Matisse. He has been stewarding along with Marcel Gasser, he's usually in Europe, but I don't know where he is. He's kind of a Where's Waldo. So Marcel travels the world, and Peter's been really anchoring the Conscious Business Synergy Circle and helping to move it into its next phase of manifestation. He's a former venture capitalist, maybe a recovering venture capitalist, and he's the founder of the Conscious Business Institute. And he's also a beloved board member of the Source of Synergy Foundation, which is the mother organization of the Evolutionary Leaders, and serves on other nonprofits as well. He's a beautiful human being. And Peter, I'm so thrilled that you could be with us this evening to share some of your work with us.
Oh, it's wonderful. Thanks so much for the invitation. It's great to be here.
Welcome. We also have Dr. Larry Clay. Larry is an assistant professor of business at Marymount University, and he's program administrator for the Conscious Business Enterprise. And he works closely with Steve Farrell and Humanities team. And one of the things that I really love about Larry is his passion for teaching conscious business to young leaders who are coming up. So Larry, your work is so important, and we're so thrilled to have you with us tonight.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you for inviting.
Okay, well, we'll be looking forward to hearing from you later. We also have the delightful Reverend Linda Bjork. She is, like me, she's an interfaith minister. She is the founder of the Inner Business Institute and wrote a book called Inner Business. And she's also associated with the One Spirit Learning Alliance, and she's a board member of Unity Earth, which I'm a vision keeper for. So we have a lot of paths in common. And Linda, I'm so looking forward to hearing your perspective on what I love what you call the becoming of business.
Thank you so much. It's delightful to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So we're going to have, as I mentioned, a recorded segment from Steve Farrell, the head of Humanities team. And Steve is one of the founders of the Conscious Business Declaration, which is a beautiful manifesto. And we have, in addition to Steve, we have a real treat tonight. We have a pre-recorded segment from Dr. Ervin Laszlo, who is one of the visionary elders of the Evolutionary Leaders. He's an amazing author. This is a man who started his career as a concert pianist, and then he became interested in humanity's evolution. And he's just recently started, at the age of 90, by the way, which he just turned, the Upshift movement. So he's in Europe. Otherwise, he would have been on live with us. He's amazing. And I'm really looking forward to that segment. And then for special treat, we have with us Steve Behrman, whom I'm sure many of you know as his alter ego, Swami Beyondananda. So Steve, I hope you're going to open our clown chakra for us this evening.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be a little serious at the beginning and the Clark Kent guys, but Superman will show up a little later. So
excellent. I know we can always count on you. Okay. So thank you so much. And it's also beautiful to have Dot Maver with us, and also Fumi-John Stewart, whom I worked with for many, many years as we promoted May Peace Prevail on Earth all over the world. Mm-hmm. So we'll be looking forward to hearing from Fumi and Dot about something quite different and very important later in the program.
Thank you.
And so now I hand it back to Evolutionary Leader Scott Catamas.
Well, thank you. And it's Saturday night, so we are going to have music. Some of my favorite musical artists are with us tonight. And, of course, Omoshar has really become our house musician, and he's with us almost every show, which is such a blessing. He was with us last night, and he'll be with us again tomorrow. But I also really wanted to have Tatiana Speed on the show again. She is one of our favorite musical artists. And where are you, Tatiana? There she is. She's back, and we're going to have 2 songs from Tatiana and a beautiful, beautiful video. And as a special treat, her grandparents are in the audience. So we might actually have a Tatiana grandparents sighting if we're a little bit lucky tonight. Tatiana's created these beautiful videos. You've seen them, those of you that are regulars on our show. So we get her music and her video. Tatiana, it's great to have you back with us. And speaking of Tatiana, we always like to start our show with music. And so I'm going to just keep the spotlight on you. And what are you going to start us off with tonight?
First of all, thank you for having me back, Scott. It's such a joy to be back in this beautiful community of leaders and emerging change makers. And I want to start us off with a song called Ignite. And this song is really dedicated to the incredible leaders on this call, listening to this call, to all of us who are doing our best to be the change we want to see in the world and to ignite and catalyze a movement that can create a sustainable future that works for all of us. So this is Ignite, and it is really, it was inspired by people like you. So here we go. I just gotta adjust my volume a little. There we go. The world is changing, the world's on fire. I wanna do my part to inspire change. I wanna make my home a sanctuary of love and peace and harmony, and be the change I wanna see. The earth is my home, the earth is my mother. We will never have any other to help renew, rebuild, rebirth, a new way to be on earth. I wanna ignite, catalyze, take flight, burn like the sun, dispelling the night, help humanity find its way back home. I wanna unite, stand and rise, shine bright, bring the truth into the light, help humanity find its way back home. Come and dance, come and sing, come and pray, come and bring all you are and all you love. A new day is dawning, I feel it calling us to help rebirth, a new way to be on earth. I wanna ignite, catalyze, take flight, burn like the sun, dispelling the night, help humanity find its way back home. I wanna unite, stand and rise, shine bright, bring the truth into the light, help humanity find its way back home. Let's find our way 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 home. I wanna ignite, catalyze, take flight, burn like the sun, dispelling the night, help humanity find its way back home. I wanna unite, stand and rise, shine bright, bring the truth into the light, help humanity find its way back home. Thank you.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to go to gallery view for a moment. Let's just all twinkle. Twinkle here on so, look at all those people twinkling you. And so many comments are coming in. Dorina from Ecuador writes, what a perfect song for tonight's theme. Well, that's actually Dr. Laura that wrote that. Wanda writes, Tatiana, you help us be the most and best we can be. Thank you.
Oh,
And more comments coming in on Facebook, our Love Coach Academy page. Marianne is saying, oh my gosh, what a beautiful song. So thank you for getting us. And that theme is perfect because it's true. We're all wanting to come back home and find our tribe. And that is a big part of what Global Peace Tribe is all about, is bringing us all together. And we've got more Tatiana a little bit later on in the show. So thank you very much. Rev Deb, you've got some amazing guests, and I'm going to bring you back on now and Who are we going to start with tonight?
I want to start this evening by introducing Peter Matisse for many reasons. First of all, I don't know how else to say this. I just love Peter. He is such a fresh voice for our world. And I love the journey that he's taken, not so different from Steve Farrell, who's been on this program many times before, where he was deep in the business world. And even being successful in the business world, there was something not satisfying at the soul level that gave him that evolutionary impulse to found the Conscious Business Institute. And I think he has explored in so many important ways, not only how conscious business can change the world, and as Tatiana was singing, bring us home to a kind of business that feels good, that doesn't feel in conflict with who we really are. But he's also systematically created programs to teach that, so that people in business can learn how to make their businesses more conscious. He's also been a tremendous steward for the Conscious Business Synergy Circle of the Evolutionary Leaders, and I'm just delighted that he could be with us this evening. Peter Matisse.
Thanks so much for the kind introduction, Deborah. I have to say something before I get started about conscious business, because I had a session about family constellation just before now, and I went back into my father's family until 1600 in that session. And I came here to this session very vulnerable, and I might have canceled a lot of other interviews or presentations, but this is I wanted to be a part of. And to me, conscious business is exactly what that. It is bridging the masculine, which is dominating our world, which I've just experienced in my session, and what Tatiana has been singing about, the feminine and the beauty of the world. And when I was a venture capitalist and saw hundreds of companies every year and so many leaders yearning for a better way to do business, and so many people inside of organizations that we invested in yearning for better ways to do business, and just asking, isn't there something that we can do to create a better way to conduct business? I eventually thought that I needed to quit everything in order to create that, not just for everybody else, but myself. I felt the same way. I felt that something fundamental was missing in my world, that I was very successful as a venture capitalist, flying first class and all these kind of fancy things. But when I got home at night, I felt empty, and I knew that there was something missing. So on a personal level, millions of people are yearning to look for a different way to conduct business and achieve success in the world. That's why we need to change. On a business level, we need to change because we know that our ways of conducting business is not successful anymore. Everything that's coming down the pipe, whether it's digitalization or the socioeconomic gap that's opening up, we cannot conduct business further as we do. It's just not sustainable anymore. And on a global level, where you see so many polarities, we cannot expect the politicians to lead us forward, because they are in a gridlock. There's so much polarity happening. There's so much finger pointing happening. I believe that actually business is the most powerful force in the world. It is fast enough, it is quick enough, it can adapt. And this is the force that we can use in order to create a better world for us going forward. So in 2003, I quit everything, my hometown, my job, my marriage, my everything, came to Santa Barbara with 2 suitcases. And after a while I said, holy shit, what am I doing? But in 2005, I had an insight on a plane which said Conscious Business Institute, and it outlined what this Conscious Business Institute was supposed to be. It was the first time when I ever heard the word conscious business. It was not around in 2005. And it took me a year to have the courage to put something in place. In 2006, something happened. I reached out to a few people, and within a few months, we had 16 people on board that were steering this ship forward. Over the years, we have created an entire system where many people speak about changing the way to work. We've created a system to get people and entire organizations measurably sustainably and also scalable to up to 100,000 people from point A to point B. So this is what we want to put in the world. And we've been working with companies like BMW and Allianz Insurances and Intel and Morgan Stanley and those kind of organizations, and see that if we touch people in their hearts and open up this new possibility of changing the way we conduct business, everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. We might hold back and we might be afraid, not knowing how to go about it, but even the top leaders, when we talk to them in person, my God, they're all standing in line and saying, if we can create that, I want to be part of this journey. And then, of course, when comes Monday morning, they go back to their old habits. So this is something we will need to address going forward. So basically, I'm just going to introduce the topic here. Again, it's a huge possibility, because when we look at our lives, look at your lives, you will find that your success in life, your satisfaction in life stops exactly where your consciousness has stopped growing. Of course, we can become maybe president of the United States, maybe we can become CEO of a global corporation and become very successful not being conscious, but where exactly our consciousness stops is where we will bump against the wall. Maybe it is with our families or with our children when we don't show up fully with them. So consciousness to me is the doorway to unlock the door to really transform the world going forward. And business is the vehicle to do that. Now, just a couple of words about the Conscious Business Synergy Circle. I'm leading that circle at the current time together with Marcel Gasser. And what we want to create there is I would say a hub in the wheel. It's a meeting point. It's a marketplace, not a marketplace, a town hall really, where people can get introduced to conscious business, where they can get inspired and say, you know, I'm interested in this topic. What's going on out there? How can I connect? How can I connect to people that are in this field? How can I get started in this topic? So if you want to reach out and just be put on the list as we put more things out with this Conscious Business Synergy Circle, reach out to us. You can either do that at info@consciousbusinessinstitute.com, or you can reach us at the Evolutionary Leaders address, which I'm going to scroll back to, and maybe Deborah can help me. I think it's el@sourceofsynergy.org. Is that correct?
sourceofsynergyfoundation.org.
el@sourceofsynergyfoundation.org. So I'll stop it here and open it up for all the other wonderful souls that are on this call.
Oh, well, now hold on. We don't want you to go too quickly. First of all, I really appreciate that you had this profound experience of connecting to your family and your ancestry. And I don't think it's an accident that might have taken place before coming on. And this is a show where we're all family, we're all friends here. We can be very honest. Emotions are always welcome. I just have to ask, as you look at your ancestry and your family constellation, how does that connect to your vision and the work that you're doing now?
That's a great question. I would see a couple of connections. First of all, my own dysfunctions are being put on the plate. Maybe a lack in courage, maybe self-doubt, maybe fear of running out of money, or all those kind of things that are circling around. And they're just being put in context when I look at this broader picture with the male standing in my lineage going back hundreds of years. And to know that it's everything that come together since 400, 500 years is now putting me in this place to move forward. And that puts everything into a different perspective. The second thing that popped up is that, again, the dysfunction of the masculine is causing a lot of the dysfunctions in our world today. It's the extraction economics, it's conflict oriented, it's achievement oriented, it's all those kind of things. It's more, which is the same thing as not enough, not enough, not enough. So I feel we have to heal our masculine world, our masculinity, whether it's in women, but also in men, in particularly, and become fully accountable of our dysfunctions in order to create a more healthy world going forward.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. And I believe your ancestors would be quite proud of you. So thank you. I want to really encourage people to, with all of the beautiful presenters we have tonight, go to their websites. So let's start by Peter's, which is consciousbusinessinstitute.com. consciousbusinessinstitute.com. And always, it's a good idea, go down to the contact page and put your information in so that, you can at least be on the email list, learn more about what they're doing. I'll just say hello so that it'll take my submission. And then if we go up a little bit, tell us about your Conscious Business Master Program. And I'm going to go ahead and click to that website.
Yeah, it's kind of the flagship program that leads people from A to B. It's kind of the most unique program out there and the most comprehensive that we've done in organizations. And now it's available for individuals who want to go through it. It's a more extensive program that really goes deep. And if you go a little further down, it also takes you through the quadrants here that are in this circle, which really make up a healthy organization. If we fulfill these 4 quadrants in an organization, the organization is healthy. If we fulfill these quadrants in our own lives, our own life is going to be fulfilled. So people are asking, what's the new model? And this circle to us, which came to me in a meditation in 2008, is really the model that we are taking out into the world, which seems to be working. So if you feel intrigued, check out the video that's behind that circle there.
Beautiful. Peter, thank you so much for being on our show. And I certainly hope that we get a chance to talk to you again soon. You have a lot to offer. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Wonderful to be here.
Oh my gosh. That's what a bang bang start with Tatiana's beautiful music and Peter's vision. And to kind of just drop in and bring this in, it's Omoshar time. And Omoshar is going to provide us with 3 songs tonight. Omoshar, what do you have for us to get things started?
First, Peter, you are so inspiring, and it's kind of interesting that some of your past was what happened to me. I used to play in rock bands, and about 5 or 6 years into it, I just felt empty with everything that I was doing, and so I decided to write conscious music and only write when I was feeling up and positive. And so that's my preamble here. And so thank you, Peter, for sharing, and thank you for being brave for coming in after your session. Wow.
Curious to hear.
We're not hearing you. Omoshar? We're not hearing you.
Now you are.
Okay.
You'll never walk this way again is about leaving the past.
But you're very low. Your audio is very low.
Very low?
Now it's better.
Can you hear the beat?
Yes, we hear the beat.
Good, you can nod your head. This way again, lay down all your guards, your loving hearts will lead the way, the door is open, wonderful and the new is waiting patiently. Take the step and you will see all you've been dreaming. And now is the time you've been waiting for so long. I've been holding you through all ages. My hand in yours, I love you just the way you are.
You're my creation, the wonderful and the new is waiting patiently. Take the step and you will see all you've been dreaming. Now is the time you've been waiting for so long. I've been holding you through all ages, knowing I'd be with you once again.
There it is.
Thank you so much, Omashar. Thank you. You bring so much beauty to our shows, and it's such a blessing. You know, Omashar was an audience member, and he came on a consistent basis to our shows. And then he wrote to me and said, well, you know, I'm a musician. You might want to check out my music. And I went to his YouTube channel and started playing his videos. And it was wonderful. And now he's become such an important part of Global Peace Tribe and the Awakening World.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Omashar.
You're very welcome.
And that's actually a bit of a segue to, I just wanted to let people know that I'm in Sedona, Arizona right now, because we're considering having our first Global Peace Tribe retreat here sometime in October, probably late October or maybe early November. And so I want to ask all of you to make sure that you've registered. So we have your email address. Certainly anybody in the Zoom room, you're all part of our, we've got your email addresses. And I'm going to be sending out a survey, a dedicated email later this week with a survey to really get input from you about having a retreat, because a lot of people have talked about wanting to come together. We thought Sedona would be a really wonderful place to do it. It's beautiful in October, all the red rocks, it's magical, and there's a lot happening. It's also a little bit more expensive to come to Sedona. So anyway, I'm not going to go into the details now, but please want to ask everybody, keep an eye out for that email, and please right away fill out the survey, because we are going to want to make a final choice soon. And if we do have a retreat here, we're going to bring Kristin Hoffman and Cornflower, some of the people you've seen through the Soul Search connection. Who knows, maybe we can even get Rev Deb to come from Mexico. We definitely are going to want to bring together some of our favorite people. So keep an eye out in your email box. And I again want to also acknowledge we've got people from all over the world watching. So thank you. And yes, Dr. Laura, we will have a dance party. That's definitely on the agenda. I saw that just came up on the comments. So, you know, we are creating always Global Peace Tribe, the Awakening World. Your feedback is really important. We need to hear it. So fill out the survey. It'll be about the retreats. It'll also be about what you'd like to see take place in terms of topics, shows, who you really like, who you'd like to see more of. So thank you. Keep an eye out for the email. And I am now going to turn it over to Rev Deb to introduce somebody that I've been wanting to have on this show for 2 years. And finally, Rev Deb corralled her and brought her in. So I'm very, very excited about this. Take it away.
Well, it will be my absolute honor to introduce Linda Bjork, but there's something I need to do before that, because Peter Matisse has written a lengthy response to one of the questions in the chat. And it is so beautiful and so important that I think we need to give him a chance to speak it for the people who don't have access to the chat in this Zoom room right now. Okay. So can we take a moment and let Peter
Absolutely.
The question?
Spotlight's back on Peter, but just read the question.
We'll get to you, Linda, in just a minute.
Can you repeat the question so we know the context?
Yes, of course. Yeah, the question was from marriage, like, could you speak to unconscious business and the extreme serious climate crisis? What is the role of conscious business in this? Simple question. So I think it's a how much time do we have? No, I want to make it short. There's no conscious business. There are conscious people inside of organization or unconscious people inside of organization. People who are either conscious about their behaviors or unconscious about their behaviors and the impact it has on themselves and the world around them. What we've found is that most of our world is governed by a very old behavioral mechanism, which we schlep around since 8,000 years, which I call the model of dominant subservience. To dominate the scarce resources. So we're in a scarcity mindset most of the time, not enough money, not good enough, all those kind of things. When we operate from that mindset, which you can see our world operating in a lot, and you just look at the media, the politicians, when we operate from that mindset, we always create stress and struggle, either for ourselves or the people around us, or for the environment. When we operate from this mindset, from this not enough, we're willing to sacrifice our own health. We're willing to sacrifice close relationship to be right, for example. We're willing to sacrifice the earth and extract from the earth in order to get ahead and be better and compete and survive as a business, basically. So unless we become aware of this mindset that drives much of our behaviors in the world, the model of dominant subservience, we will not change the way we impact the world, I believe. We can put policies in place, but people will always find their way around it. So to me, again, consciousness plays the role in conscious business, people becoming conscious about their connection to nature. And once we do that, it is much likelier that we are not harming our mother, right? Our Mother Earth, and become aware of our own behavioral mechanism, this model of dominant subservience, when it kicks in for us on a daily basis, maybe, and become accountable and conscious when it does. Once we do that, we see businesses changing big times, and also the behaviors of businesses changing. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much, Peter. It's so important what you're saying, because it's the person who becomes more conscious. And that means that for all of us and all of the members of the Global Peace Tribe who listen to this program and participate from week to week, we, in our own work on ourselves, becoming more conscious, more aware, and more aware of how we are with other people, how we treat the earth, we can make a difference whatever we're doing. So if we're in business, we have a huge opportunity to make a difference. But if you're a parent, you have a huge opportunity to make a difference. If you're in a service profession, whatever, as we all become more conscious, we have this enormous opportunity right now to change the course of our destructive civilization. So thank you so much, Peter, for making that clear. I think that's such a key point for the whole evening.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you. And thank you, Peter and Scott and Omashar. You are all examples of people, men, who have become aware of the toxicity in the lack of balance between the masculine and the feminine, and the dominance of the masculine in our civilization. And all three of you have made it a point in your lives to become more loving, more conscious, and more purpose-driven. And all of that is how the divine masculine and feminine manifests. So thank you so much. And someone else who's a perfect example of that, I'm so happy now to be able to introduce our female member of the Conscious Business Synergy Circle. Yay! Reverend Linda Bjork, who also, she balances so much in her life. She's a mother, she's an interfaith minister, and she is passionate about business. So we welcome you, Linda. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Deborah. It's wonderful to be here with everyone, and thank you deeply, all people who have spoken and the energy that is felt so far. So yeah, Linda Bjork is my name, and the Inner Business Institute has several initiatives in that intersection of organizational leadership and conscious evolution. And on a leadership transformational level, I have developed a method for leadership transformation that works from small companies and to very large companies called Mindfulness Intelligence, MQ for short. Since I work closely with many leaders and teams in Fortune 100 companies, tech companies, financial institutions, healthcare and fashion industry, etc., I wanted to share some of the observations relating to the business world and conscious evolution. Personally and professionally, I have to say that I love the business world. I was a CEO for 10 years. I adore the conscious level that strives for innovation and tries to find better solutions, wants to move the needle in the world. Or as a famous business leader once said, I want to make a dent in the universe. Business is the largest social platform in the world. It brings people together from all walks of life and working on joint projects and sharing common goals and making a living for families. I would go so far as to say that there's something awe-inspiring about the spirit of business. So what's not to love? Well, as much as I enjoy the forward movement of business, as other people have brought up tonight, I am deeply concerned with the greed that arises in this same level of consciousness. And according to business, progress and achievement require some destruction of life, of well-being, of Mother Earth. It's been the name of the game for decades, and I encountered this particular consciousness often in business. Thankfully, thanks to a lot of people on this particular call, and a lot of people have worked to evolve the business world, there are authentic, purposeful, sustainable, fantastic companies that have grown in a visible and inspirational way in the past couple of decades. We see leaders standing up for people, planet, and purpose in numbers that are almost starting to feel a bit hopeful, right? But so far, this is mostly true for small to mid-sized companies. So what about the big ones? What about the Fortune 500 companies? What about the Fortune 100 companies? Companies that, by the way, are likely to soon be purchasing the smaller, fantastic companies. We have to look at them as well. There's an inherent structural challenge with large corporations to reach any significant consciousness shifts before long. That's why we have these epiphanies and then wake up on Monday and we sort of go back to the same old habit. As we all know, large corporations operate within the structure of answering to shareholders. These shareholders or the owners decide who will sit on the board, and the board in turn picks the people in charge in the organization, right? Well, this poses a couple of challenges. Number one, these owners that we're talking about are rarely a group of people kicking back with spirulina smoothies and jamming some new age tunes and discussing what good can we do in the world today. Rather, they're often representing financial investments with one main mission, and that is to make investments that yield great financial return, preferably yesterday. Big money as soon as possible, that's the driving force. Challenge number two, separately, there's a sameness bias that makes the old leadership club very uncomfortable when charismatic, conscious bending leaders start making an impact. When these islands of great leaders make a great impact, they easily become a threat to the old paradigm leaders. The bar is now rising too high, threatening the status quo, and the threats just gotta go. Some expensive severance packages later, and the threat has been taken care of. Big protected companies get away with this time and again, and I have unfortunately had a front row seat in that lion's den a few times. So these challenges need to be overcome, and we can and need to do it together. So to keep it simple in this short presentation, I refer to consciousness development as defined in spiral dynamics, where we look at values as the organizing principle of the evolution of consciousness. And a conscious business goal then could be to help move as much as possible of business leadership and business structures to the second tier of spiral dynamics, aiming for that first rung where ego is no longer a dominant force and therefore can minimize the ego's destructive tendencies. Be it small or large organization, getting greed and fragile egos out of the way would be a game changer. As such, my main message today is not to limit ourselves and this work to our own evolutionary club. You know, it's easy to do that, the consciousness clique, and maybe even the academic crowd. One thing that I've learned, boots on the ground, is that people in business are a lot more ready for a consciousness change than meets the eye. I don't think it's wise to continue with the idea that we only speak to people who are ready for conscious change. We're missing too many people then, and I have found that it's actually a miscalculation. Many corporate groups for my MQ leadership trainings are populated with a few people who honestly don't want to be there. You know, they may have signed up to impress the big boss, or they may flat out have been forced to at least try to become a better leader. They have no interest in consciousness mumbo jumbo, and the purpose of their business day seems to be just get through them, get promoted, and bring home the bacon. These are people that we would write off as not ready. And I have had so many of these resistant professionals right in front of me, you know, arms crossed and tight energy, just waiting for me to screw something up so they can jump down my throat. All the while, they have underestimated my greatest power. See, what they don't know is that I already love them. I love them for exactly where they are. Flexing their status symbols, tense, calculated, ready for battle. I love them for who they are and have yet to become. So the battle never happens. The most resistant fighters become awestruck mush as they get to experience their own greatness, their own holiness, getting a whiff of their own sacred potential. I've had rude CEOs walking into the room with snarky remarks, only to later float out of the room, singing the praises of having experienced themselves so sacredly, so deeply. Oh my God, they say, I can't believe how deep I got in myself. It's so deep. I mean, just so deep. It's unbelievable. It's so deep. They don't have language for this yet, so that's all they can say. But these are the very people that we would write off. And they've had this profound experiences of consciousness. And when they do, they now become the loudest advocates for consciousness training. And that's why I wanted to be here today and encourage you to not discount people. We will need lots of initiatives and resources to facilitate this awakening in business that we want to have happen. So let me add this one to the action plan. Enough with the silos already. Don't be stingy with who you're sharing your gifts with, and don't be intimidated by people who are ready to fight. You know, if coaching and leadership training is not your thing, you still have a role in this. How about you build something awesome that works and show the world that alternative? If you're on the inside of companies, make sure that resources are invested into building and supporting conscious teams and make them too successful to ignore, and make sure to communicate why it works. That's how mindfulness intelligence has spread in multiple companies. You can help by what some people I know are on this call already do, which is to redefine how we measure shareholder value. There are so many exciting things going on there. So if that's something that you want to contribute with your talents, get in the game. You know, and if you can, build wealth and use it to influence a financial consciousness shift. Not only as an owner will you have this pull, but also as a consumer that Deborah was mentioning, you will have this kind of conscious voice. And lastly, but most importantly, inspire people's evolutionary growth by simply shining brightly in the radiance and contribution from your level of consciousness. This is your biggest work. Shine as you. The world needs more of you. The conscious business evolution needs more of you. I love you, and I thank you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I want to read some comments that have come in. Karen Eisenberg writes, excuse me, Linda, your love for all in conscious business inspires me to get in the game. I want to shine as brightly as you. Dr. Laura writes, Linda is a warrior of light and love on the front lines of the conscious evolution. And these are just some of the comments, and they're flying in right now with people appreciating you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you. And I want, there's a wonderful way, remember that whenever we're seeing these presenters, and they only have like 10 minutes. So it's just a little homeopathic dosage of Linda Bjork. But to get more, we're going to go to a couple of her websites. So I want everybody to know right off the bat, thebecomingofbusiness.com, thebecomingofbusiness.com. And she has created, if you go to the tab that says videos, she's providing some beautiful, very generous conversations about this topic. So for those of you that are really fascinated with what we're doing tonight, please go to thebecomingofbusiness.com and go to her videos where you can learn more about peace with the planet, global collaboration, the becoming of business. And these are beautiful videos. And these are with you and some of your colleagues that are part of this. I see Ben Bowler, of course, has been on the show many times. Rodrigo Espinosa, some really beautiful, Chief Dwayne Perry. A lot of our friends I see are on some of these calls. Anything you want to highlight, Linda, in terms of these videos?
Well, what I find mostly inspiring about these talks and what has meant so much to me is that we do have our conscious people group, but we also have people from the FBI. We have people from Fortune 100 companies. We have people who are coming from other walks of life. And I love facilitating the meeting between these worlds because, as I said here in my presentation, enough with the silos already. We can share, we can learn from one another, and no one is sitting on a high horse here. And if you only have 60 minutes, the fifth video on that page is actually a compilation of all of those 4 circle talks. So I highly recommend that.
Good. But wait, there's more. There's a website that I want to take people to, and it's her last name, Bjork, B-J-O-R-K, bjorkbusiness.com. And this is where you're teaching leadership transformation and leadership excellence. And you've worked even with the U.S. Navy SEALs.
I've worked with a lot of different strands from the U.S. Army, the Air Force, and the FBI, as I mentioned. And listen, to me, it doesn't really matter where people come from. They have all these high stakes and important leadership roles, and the consciousness is the same. And so it just happens that I don't know, they seem to enjoy the teaching. And what's funny, actually, how people choose you is that they usually need to, especially when you do a lot of meditation together, they need to like your voice. So, and that's just a personal preference. It's funny how life works, but I'm sure we find the people we're supposed to find.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to your website for one moment and then give Rev Deb a chance to thank you. Is there any particular place on this website you want to direct our audience's attention?
I mean, there's so much to say about the mindfulness intelligence system, but what I do there, because I like the bridging of things, is that I really do take the consciousness journey and the mindfulness journey, and I marry that with a lot of science. I'm a science nerd. My first degree was in engineering, and so that's why I put this system together. And I find that if we have a language that speaks to business, that's the crack, how we get in, and that's when we can shine the light.
Beautiful. Dr. Laura says, voice is a very significant conduit for the feeling of love and acceptance.
Amen.
Yeah. Rev Deb, I'm going to turn it over to you to thank her and carry on.
Well, Linda, I think you're just amazing. I really feel like you are the new balanced feminine, the way we have these balanced males with us, that you bring so much love and light, but also power. And you know what you're talking about. You speak from experience, you speak from research. Thank you for
Thank
what
you
you're
so
bringing
much.
to the world. It's so important.
It takes one to know one. I love you.
Well, to integrate this, we really kind of set tonight up. So there's a presenter and then some music, and a presenter and some music, so we can really absorb this. And so I'm going to go back to our wonderful friend, Tatiana Speed, who has got another song for us. Hi, Tatiana.
Hello.
Anything that has stood out for you from our first presenters tonight?
Oh man, I'm just so inspired. Business is not my realm of expertise, but I actually feel like the way that it's being spoken of, I feel like I have an invitation into this world as well. And I can imagine conversations I can have with my grandfather, who is a businessman, and we've had lots of arguments about conscious business. I hadn't used those terms, but that's what I'll hit him with this time. And yeah, I'm just inspired to see this part of waking up and coming into consciousness. And wow, those presentations were so inspiring.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah. So the song I want to share, pardon? So the song I want to share is called Caravan, and it's kind of my invitation and invocation to peace. And it came to me, I was traveling through the Middle East and was confronted with a lot of non-peace and was really sitting with that. And one night in meditation, I just heard this voice kind of come through, and it was, those moments you have that kind of higher wisdom voice speaking to you, and it just said, peace is coming. I'm just letting you know, hearts are blooming all around the world. And I had this image of all the people around the world doing their work, transforming themselves, and just lighting up like lighthouses, and the ripple effect of that. And I'm feeling that on this call right now. So yeah, this is Caravan. And I think I need to, was I too low there? Am I up higher now?
Yeah, you're okay. We had a Zoom bump for a minute, but you're good.
Okay. All right. Peace is coming, I'm just letting you know. Hearts are blooming all around the world. Brotherhood is coming, I'm just letting you know. Peace like a flag unfurled as we join the caravan headed to the promised land, the home that we share deep in our heart, singing an ancient song not forgotten. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Come walk with me, my brother, let's travel the distance. into the light of a calm new day. We are so beautiful, so many different colors. Listen, our hearts know the way. As we join the caravan headed to the promised land, singing an ancient song not forgotten. שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Peace is coming, I'm just letting you know. Hearts are blooming all around the world.
Twinkling.
Twinkles.
There's a question, Tatiana. Was that Hebrew?
Yes. Yes, it was. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I want to remind everybody that we can support her in a couple of ways by going to her website. And her website is her name, TatianaSpeed.com. TatianaSpeed.com. And definitely put in your name and your email address, and you can go in and you can stream some of her music. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. But I also want to let everybody know that she has created a Patreon page, and I'm so excited about that. Of course, many of our regulars like Kristin Hoffman and Cornflower have Patreon pages, and that's how we support them. And so now I want for everybody, I just put into the chat box the Patreon page, and I really want to encourage everybody to do that. And I am going to join, and I'm excited. I get to join at the $11 a month level. And I'm
Scott, I'm so touched.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll let me sign in through Google. We'll see if it lets me do it that way.
You'll be my first person. You'll be the very first contributor.
Really? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm going to do this. I don't want to tie up the audiences, but I'm going to do that while our next thing is happening. So everybody, maybe you'll beat me to it. Somebody might be the first one. Let's all join her Patreon. And again, you can come in at any level, and you'll be providing music and different things for us. Yeah?
Absolutely, yes. This is just going to allow me to continue creating, because I've just poured basically all my funds into the last 4 songs that I've put out, and I want to be able to keep going. And this is just going to give me the wind beneath my wings so I can continue creating meaningful music and bringing it into the world. So thank you, everyone.
And this is really important. We have to support our artists. And I love that they call it Patreon, because traditionally the great cultures had patrons recognizing that our artists need to be supported. And I know that when I talk to Kristin and Cornflower, it's nice because then they know there's a monthly income. However, once they get 30, 40 people, then even if they're only contributing $3 or $5 or $11, it adds up. And they know, okay, every month I'm going to get my Patreon, donation and support, which is really important. So let's all support Tatiana, just as we've been supporting some of our other favorite artists. And she'll be back with one more video, and we might even have a Tatiana grandparent.
We'll see. They're very shy, so I'm not sure.
No promise.
It'd be a rare sighting, that's for sure, but I'll talk to them.
Deborah, would you be willing to introduce Larry Clay?
I would be delighted to introduce Larry Clay and also to thank Tatiana for that absolutely angelic music. That was so special. It really just went right to the heart. Thank you so much. And thank you, Scott, for showing your other co-host, Jasmine Bear. I know everybody wanted to see your four-legged friend there.
People were wanting to see Jasmine Bear, and there was a dog barking, so I had to kind of grab her and give her, readjust the attention so that she wasn't barking while I was promoting Tatiana's Patreon.
Well, she's another star of the show, and she helps us be in touch with a broader audience, let's say.
I'll show her one more time because now she has her Sedona cut there.
And I know her fans want to see it. So now let me introduce Dr. Larry Clay, a really beautiful human being. I love his dedication not only to what conscious business can do in the world, but also how we can nurture the conscious business leaders of tomorrow. So Larry, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you also for your work with Humanities Team.
Oh, thank you, Deborah. It's so nice to be here. And yes, Tatiana, I was trying to hold back my tears before I was like, wow, how am I going to follow that up? So what I wanted to talk about today is keep this same theme going on that you heard from our previous speakers earlier today. Is this whole thing about what business is and what it can be in the future. Because we all can see that currently on a global scale, we need a radical paradigm shift of what business is. A radical. This incrementalism that's happening, although it's good intent, what we really need now, especially now that we're at a carrying capacity on this globe, we need some radical paradigm shifts, not only in the activities that we do as far as business, but the mindset of the people. I like how Peter brought into that there's probably not a such thing as a conscious business, but it's the conscious people that make the business, which is so important. So I thought that it might be the best thing that I can do and the most value that I can probably give you all is to share with you, just as I share with my entrepreneurs, what conscious business development, what conscious capitalism, what is the basis of all this? What are the components? What is it all about? The easiest way to prompt this up is to share with you the 4 pillars or the 4 foundational principles, which are the higher purpose of business, stakeholder focus, leadership, and culture. These are the 4 elements that you want to work on, whether you're modeling a new business or whether you have a 500,000 employee-centered multinational corporation. These are the 4 things that you want to work on to create what we call our conscious business or conscious enterprises. Let's take the higher purpose for number 1. I usually ask my college students, as well as even master's and doctoral students, what is the purpose of business? Why are you in business? What do you want to create as an entrepreneur? And most people that are coming up and that have come through at least the Western academic arena in business and management, they will mostly say, I'm in it for the money. I want the money. And that is being our mantra and our purpose for business is for profit maximization. But over the last 20, 30 years, beyond the sustainability movement, as well as the conscious movement, as they've intersected, and we're now seeing, some of the consequences of climate change has brought us. It's now more time than ever to think about and to cultivate some people that are in leadership positions or that will be in leadership positions in the next decade and two. It's now time to orient them with what it means to have business. And as far as the research is going, there is a development that is occurring. There is some movement into this space of sustainability as flourishing and conscious business and having these higher purposes to create better value for human consumption, better social innovation. But also, we have to change the mindset. I think it was Linda that brought it up earlier, is that they are not in that mindset of wanting to change. They want to keep business as usual in some of these C-suites. And if they do have someone that may be drumming the drum of conscious business and creating transformational change, you know, they simply try to put that fire out and move it away and try to make it non-existent in the organization. But what's powerful with that is what's coming in the future. We're now training in business schools all over the nation, all over the globe, about how to create value using value. And business is simply is about creating value. And it's not this relationship that we've always been accustomed through almost for a millennium of transactions. It's more based off of this interconnection, you know, not separatism, but more interconnected. You know, it's not producer consumer anymore. It's not the person and the environment as though we're separate entities. We should think of this and have our business leaders think of it from a value stance, a social value stance, to where we are all one in oneness, which means now we're moving away from teaching people about authoritarianism and compliance and managing through compliance and authoritativeness. Now we're teaching our young leaders, as well as those that are already in the business world in MBA programs, about holism and holistic management and conscious business, because we're looking more for social impact and reducing harm to our natural environment. Those are the two growing purposes for having business now. And wherever there was an opportunity to be met, it's usually found with a problem. And currently our problem, as we see it, is dealing with climate change and our excessiveness and the socially responsible production as well as consumption on the demand side. So creating these new beings with higher purposes is the first pillar in creating conscious business. The second one is to be stakeholder oriented, ecosystem oriented, and community based. Because what do we want for our future? Do we want us to keep perpetuating this system to where we have more social inequities amongst people who work and people who work a little bit more than others? Are we going to find ourselves lost in the digital transformation to where we lose our human purposes, our human values to algorithms and digital dependency? So it's about coming back to community and bringing back stakeholders, those that are very important to us in an ecosystem, and not managing people, but managing how the transactions and the transformation of the people that are in the ecosystem. Which leads us to our third pillar, which is conscious leadership. Conscious leadership is somewhat aligned with servant leadership. Some of you may have heard of resonant leadership or even transformational leadership. Now there are theories in quantum leadership and quantum development, which is this new consciousness of what business should be. So with this new conscious leadership, now is this time during this, what we call this great reset, where everything just seems as though we're in chaos with COVID, with war, with economic uncertainty, with the climate crisis, all happening all at the same time. Now is the time for our conscious leaders and our quantum leaders that are being trained and that have been trained to step up to the plate, because now is the opportunity to put some of these people in place into some of our political spaces where they're needed, into our business, large corporations, which they are needed, and even the small and medium-sized businesses. Now it's more than ever time to create these programs like Peter and Linda and myself with Conscious Business Enterprise that help business leaders, entrepreneurs, and even political figures, help them to become more aware, to awaken, and to be more attentive, not only to themselves, not only to others, but also to the natural environment, which will guide us with conscious leadership in developing what is needed for the future and the shared vision which is required to make the movement of our organizations and our communities into action. Which comes to the last pillar, which is conscious culture. The conscious culture and having our leaders, not leaders in the sense of a status or position, but leaders as in the leadership in you, which we all have. And creating these leaders to first have the journey within themselves to transform themselves to be more conscious. And once we train these leaders into this paradigm, they'll go out to take it to their teams, to their organizations, to their family members, to where we create this contagion of what it means to be conscious, not only for our personal life, but in business, to where we have these high quality relationships that we build in our organizations, and that we promote collaboration, as I heard earlier, as well as empower people, empower those that work for you and that work with you. And these are the cultures that you want to cultivate to create working environments that will be centered around the values and the morals and the empathy that's needed in our organizations today. Now, the first step of doing that is to visit the Conscious Business Declaration, which you'll hear a short video later on this evening. But what the Conscious Business Declaration does is articulates these core principles that we believe in that will not only help heal our globe and the environment and the natural resources, but it'll also improve human well-being towards a life of what we call flourishing. Because what we want are flourishing individuals and flourishing enterprises and flourishing societies in oneness. So I thank you here.
So what you're showing there is not the Conscious Business Declaration. This is the Call to Conscious Evolution. So
but that one's good too. But Conscious Business, I didn't know we wanted to do that.
Maybe Larry can put in the chat the link to the Conscious Business Declaration. And Larry, I'd love to just highlight something that intrigued people in the chat from what you were saying. Dr. Laura and others want to know what you mean by quantum leadership. So this is a term we haven't heard before. So maybe you can clarify that for us.
Sure. Quantum leadership is this new phenomena that we're seeing, to where it's based off of quantum physics mechanics, which are two principles that are in there, which are entanglement, and the second one being superposition. To where superposition, just basically basic science, it's neither zero, it's neither one, it's 0 and 1, it's neither at any time, but it's all based off of the observer, meaning that you can be in any state of being whether you're talking about a conscious state, unconscious state, flourishing state, sustainable, or just survival state at any given moment, any given time. And it's really just time that separates you from any state, time and activity. And so with quantum leadership, it's about understanding yourself, absorbing the whole, because it's 0 and 1 at the same time. So you have to acknowledge all. So it's going back to oneness. And it's receiving this direct intuitiveness from the environment, whether you want to call this the spiritual awakening, or so in some religion, a message from God in some religions. But it's that divine intervention that comes to you. And there is a new practice that is being studied right now, to where you can be more mindful and meditate and keep these practices up to stay in tune with the environment and stay in tune with yourself and others. And it's this quantum realm that they're seeking to get there with direct intuitiveness.
Wow, that is exciting. You are clearly on the leading edge of what it means to be conscious in as a business leader. And I love the way that also harkens back to what we heard Linda Bjork talk about with the mindfulness that's part of what she teaches, and Peter Matisse, when he was talking about having this change, that he had a download. What is that? But listening to the inner voice, quantum leadership. And thank you also for the website that is consciousbusinessdeclaration.org.
Yeah, here it is, consciousbusinessdeclaration.org. And then if you want to read the declaration, just click it and it takes you right down, and it's a beautiful declaration. So I want to encourage everybody to read it and then sign your name that you are a part of this. And I will certainly do that in a moment. Also, I like what Jeffrey Colebrook just wrote. He just wrote, Larry, oh, that's Dr. Laura. Comments are coming in so fast. Here it is. Dr. Laura, first of all, said, quantum leadership, that is an unusual concept. So you already explained it. Thank you. Jeffrey writes, quantum leadership is the truth that your thoughts affect the holographic universe, accepting responsibility for your thoughts. That's where we're going, right? That's like the deeper level. I also want to take people to one other place where we can learn more about Larry. And again, you heard us talk about at the beginning of the show that Deborah is the executive director of the Evolutionary Leaders Network. There are about 200 of us. I'm so honored to be a part of this now. And of course, Larry is part of the Evolutionary Leaders. So you can learn about Larry or any of the evolutionary leaders by going to evolutionaryleaders.net. And then you can kind of click on and it'll take you, and you can then see all the different people that are part of this. And so many of them have been on our show. I mean, I see Julie Kroll and Bob Atkinson and Sharif Abdullah and on and on and on. And then you find somebody that you're interested in, like Bruce Lipton. He's a dear friend of ours, and you can learn a little bit about him. So definitely check out the evolutionaryleaders.net. Of course, that's where you can find more information on Larry, Peter, Linda, even myself, or even Deb Moldow.
And Larry, thank you so much for the important work that you're doing. And one of the questions that came up in the chat was, do you find that the young business leaders are receptive to these ideas? Is something bubbling up that maybe we don't see yet because they're still young?
Oh, no. One of the big surprises that I learned in these first few classes I started teaching is most of these students are already equipped with some of this information. They're already oriented with their parents probably being a part of some employee assistance program where they encourage meditation. And taking yoga classes where they'll pay for them as well as their kids.
Yeah, I think there's a whole generation that's coming in with a new consciousness, and the job of educators like you is just to steer them in the right direction so they find their way.
Just to let them know, like, yeah, stick with that hunch.
Right.
Stick with that one.
Ayada writes in our chat box, Larry Clay, I'm feeling quantum elation right now. You're describing things I've dreamed of for years. Now here you are teaching this. Beam me up. And Dr. Laura says, Ayada, I'm feeling entangled with your elation. So
we have a quantum audience here.
we absolutely have a very quantum audience. Well, we already are 30 minutes over. So yeah, because everybody, it's so fascinating. Larry, thank you. We're going to hear from your compadre, Steve Farrell, a little bit later tonight. So he spoke highly of you when I spoke to him. So thank you for being with us. And Deborah, I am going to bring on Fumi and Dot Maver. These are two women that I have so much respect for. They've been on The Awakening World a few times. And they are both, of course, Dot is part of Evolutionary Leaders Network. Fumi, one of the greatest, in fact, probably the best gift I've received in the last several years was when I got my very own peace pole. And God bless Fumi, she had to send it to me multiple times because I was traveling and the post office wouldn't deliver it and I had to sign a thing and I wasn't there, but I finally got my peace pole. So thank you, Fumi. And of course, next week is when we remember Hiroshima on August 6th. And so I'm going to turn it over to these two wonderful women to share with us about some very important events taking place next week that I really hope all of our Global Peace Tribe participants will be attending and participating in. So go ahead and take it away, Dot and Fumi.
Well, thank you, Scott and Deborah, for inviting us and hosting the show, and to all the conscious business leaders for your passion and wisdom. And I think we are in good hands moving forward. So thank you so much. And yes, 2022. This is 77 years after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and we still have not learned our nuclear lesson. We've got 13,000 nuclear warheads on the planet, each one more powerful than the bomb that fell on those two cities. And we're 100 seconds to the doomsday clock, to midnight on the doomsday clock. And, with the Ukrainian war now, that we're so much closer to nuclear holocaust than we ever have been. So this is a really critical time. And in the urgency of this moment, Bishop Swing from United Religions Initiative is calling us to honor Nuclear Prayer Day on August the 6th, so that we can all raise our voice and our hearts for a world free of nuclear weapons. And it is time we all get serious about moving from a culture of war to a culture of peace. So there are a number of events taking place around August 6th. August 6th in Japan falls on our August the 5th. So there are events starting on August the 5th, moving into August the 6th. And I'm so proud to represent May Peace Prevail on Earth International. Our members in Hiroshima on the ground will be live at Hiroshima Peace Park to host live from Hiroshima. And what is so special about this live program is that we are all invited to join the 1 minute of silence that is observed every year in Japan at the exact moment the atomic bomb was dropped at 8:15 a.m. in Japantown, which is our August 5th at 7:15 Pacific. And Dot Maver, who's here with me from Global Silent Minute, will lead that 1 minute of silence. So it's a very special moment. That's the highlight of our event. But, you know, at this time, I think, Scott, I'd like to play that video message from Hiroshima from the coordinator of our Hiroshima event, which takes place August 5th in the evening. And it's he speaks in Japanese with the we have English subtitles, but it may be difficult for some of you to read that. So Scott and I decided that we'll turn the volume down on the Japanese and I'll read the subtitles for you in English. So let's.
皆さん、こんにちは。
Hello, everyone. 77 years ago, on August 6, 1945, the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, and 3 days later on the city of Nagasaki. More than 200,000 people, from old people to babies, died, and the daily lives of citizens completely vanished in an instant. At that time, it was said that no plants would grow in Hiroshima for 75 years. However, thanks to the hard work of the survivors and the warm support from people in many parts of Japan and around the world, Hiroshima has been revived as a beautiful city surrounded by greenery and water. However, despite experiencing the tragedy of the atomic bomb, we humans have not yet escaped the curse of nuclear weapons. There are more than 10,000 high-performance nuclear weapons that far surpass the atomic bombs of Hiroshima, glaring at each other. In addition, many people hurt and die on a daily basis around the world from ethnic conflicts, religious conflicts, and acts of terrorism due to mutual principles, assertions, disgust, and fear. Our group has held the World Peace Flag Ceremony for 29 years every year on August 6th. Scott, can we put a little bit of the volume up on the Japanese? So there's beautiful music in the background.
開催してきました。
Yeah, on the anniversary of the bomb, we hold our ceremony.
政治の違いを超えて、
Transcending race, religion, and creed. We raise the flags of each country and send our prayers for peace to prevail on earth. The ceremony takes place in front of the atomic bomb dome, which has become a symbol for everlasting peace. We invite you to join us on August 6th to unite our voices for peace to prevail on earth in a world free of nuclear weapons. Let us together send our prayers for peace to prevail in every country and region on earth. We also will be joining the Nuclear Prayer Day initiative, which calls upon the citizens of the world to dedicate this day as a day of prayer for nuclear disarmament. Okay, well, thank you for watching that. Thank you,
you.
Umi-san, arigato, and please thank Mr. Tamanaga and the Hiroshima group, the May Peace Prevail on Earth group, your co-workers. You know, we are in the midst of, and Scott, let's say thank you, Deborah. And Scott, thank you for giving us a few minutes here. You know, we are in the midst of 99 days of.
Oh, you just muted Dot.
I just got muted somehow. Okay, we're in the midst of 99 days of peace through unity, leading to Peace Week 2022. And all of us in full support of what is happening live from Hiroshima and this Nuclear Prayer Day, August 6th. And you can check that out at peacethroughunity.earth. And Unify will broadcast 24 hours on the One Dot stream for Nuclear Prayer Day. So we'll put the program link in the chat. You know, Fumi, you've said so often, this year it feels different somehow. It feels even more intense, and that so many are so aware, and perhaps because of what's happening on the planet at this moment. And yet it seems we are literally at one of those moments where it is the tipping point moment for all of us. And one of the reasons that Global Silent Minute is so honored and privileged to assist with leading millions of us into that minute of silence on August 6th in Japan at 8:15 a.m., which is the Friday evening, August 5th at 7:15 p.m., is we know that the power of silence is greater than we know. And with all of us holding this shared intention for may peace prevail on earth. Oh, may peace prevail on earth. So Fumi, maybe we can put the graphic on the screen and just take a moment to share the 5 events that are happening over those 2 days. So on the Friday, the 5th, which is of course the 6th in Japan, there will be a Hiroshima Nagasaki Interfaith Peace Gathering at the United Nations Church Center. That's at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. But the graphic you're looking at here is live from Hiroshima. That takes place on Friday, August 5th. And Fumi and the May Peace Prevail on Earth members will be hosting an event from Hiroshima Peace Park from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 to 9 a.m. on August 6th in Japan. And then at 8:15 a.m. in Japan, as Fumi said, on August 6th, the country goes silent for that 1 minute. So yeah, thank you. We'll put that up also. All these are listed in this link, and we'll put the link in the chat as well. And so if you can't be with us for that event, please at 7:15 p.m. Eastern, 4:15 p.m. Pacific on Friday, August 5th, just take 1 minute of silence with all of us, with the country of Japan, as we hold in our hearts and call on all those from the other side of the veil to join us in our shared intention for a world free of nuclear weapons. May peace prevail on earth. And then on Saturday, August 6th, there are 3 events. The Peace School in Chicago offers a call to peace, which is a free monthly event. And that will be at 12:30 Central for 1 hour, 10:30 Pacific, 1:30 Eastern. The second event is Inauguration of Nuclear Peace Day, 8:15 a.m. Pacific, 11:15 a.m. New York. And then the third, Intergenerational Voices for Peace. And in fact, earlier today at the United Nations, that's at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. The Intergenerational Voices for Peace, there was a panel at the United Nations earlier today featuring youth and some of our dear peers and colleagues, Jonathan Granoff, Audrey Kitagawa, and we heard from Kekishan Basu, founder of Green Hope Foundation. So many intergenerationally, all of us really now just standing up and calling for a world free of nuclear weapons. It's time, and may we create the conditions together for the culture of peace. May peace prevail on earth.
Peace prevail on earth.
And of course, then we're going to conclude this couple of days with dedicating next Saturday night's Awakening World is going to be dedicated to remembering Hiroshima and creating the many pathways to peace. And we've got a wonderful group of people joining us live. Of course, Fumi is going to be my co-host. Chief Phil Lane Jr., and we love Phil, one of our favorite presenters. He hasn't been on Awakening World for several months, so it'll be good to have him with us. Jonathan Granoff, who has just a beautiful heart and is wise. And I loved what he created recently for the 99 Days of Unity. He created 99 prayers, 99 different spiritual blessings, if you will. And then Tez Gabriel is going to be with us, and she's going to lead a prayer for peace. Barbara Newsom, Jennifer Kim, new friends coming on. And as always, music. We're going to have Ivy Hilton providing a beautiful piece. Poetry from A. Marie Brown, Tammy Briggs playing harp, and always Omashar and Fanny and Vigari are coming back. So we're really going to balance out the prayers, the visioning with music. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful evening 1 week from tonight. So please do join us. As Fumi makes her debut as a co-host of the Awakening World.
I just learned of it now, so I have a week to prepare myself.
Ladies, thank you so much.
I want to put in a special request to everybody who's listening to this appeal, because I just sent in a prayer to the Voices for a World Free of Nuclear Weapons for this occasion. And I don't think it was until I spoke my prayer from my heart that I realized how deeply this issue touches me. So I really want to encourage everyone who's listening to say your own prayer for a world free of nuclear weapons. This could be the shift that humanity needs in order to reach our next level of consciousness and co-create a culture of peace. So please, everyone join in this effort in every way that you can. Be part of the Global Silent Minute. Join in the prayers from Hiroshima on that anniversary day. But whatever you do, say your own prayer for peace.
Beautiful. Heartfelt gratitude.
Thank you, Dot. Thank you, Fumi. Thank you, Reverend Deb. And to kind of first, really maybe to just drop in right now, I've asked Omashar to play a soft song. And so I'm going to turn it over to beloved brother Omashar, and let's all listen to his music and maybe in our own way say a prayer for peace.
Yes, prayer for peace. When there's nowhere left to turn, and you're feeling kind of low, slow down, and breathe me in.
slow down, slow down, and breathe me in. When your river's running dry, and you're driven to your knees, slow down, slow down, and breathe me in. I am watching you, waiting for you to let my love into that lonely life of yours. Listen to me, and we can be together free eternally. La, 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 when you're feeling out of touch, and you need someone to hold, slow down, and breathe me in. Slow down, and breathe me in.
Thank you so much, beloved Omashar. And, a reminder, everybody, that you can get more of Omashar if you go to his website, omashar.com. And then right here, just click on his YouTube channel. And he's got some really beautiful, some of his favorite songs with beautiful videos. And so this is how we get Omashar during the week. You can get him on the weekends through the Awakening World, but you can get him during the week that way.
Thanks for the gallery share view. That was really touching as well. Thank you.
I always love seeing everybody kind of moving to the music. And
Thank you so much, John.
thank you to those of you who are moving to the music and allowing us to have your cameras on. It's really lovely to have. Thank you so much. I want to read something that Dorina just wrote, and then we're going to hear from Swami Beyondananda and his alter ego, Steve Behrman. Dorina, who's writing to us all the way from Ecuador, she's a regular, says, thank you. Let's include in our prayers not only the victims of Hiroshima, but also of Fukushima, Chernobyl, and many other nuclear disasters, and envision a future where no more nuclear weapons or facilities will be part of our reality. So thank you for that reminder, Dorina. Thank you. Yeah. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Rev Deb to make a very special introduction.
To a very special evolutionary leader. So welcome, Steve Behrman. I understand that there are two of you here this evening, and that Steve would like to make a few remarks before we introduce the Swami.
Well, Well, thank you so very much. You know, it's wonderful to be given the opportunity to be here. And thank you so much, Scott and Deborah and Larry and Linda, for showing us that conscious business is not an oxymoron, but a key to our survival and thrival. And thank you for letting me be a split personality today. Often I'm as channeling Swami beyond. Right now, the Swami is channeling me, okay? So on the slightly more serious side, as you may know, I collaborated with Bruce Lipton on a book several years ago called Spontaneous Evolution, Our Positive Future, and a Way to Get There From Here. And when we wrote the book in 2009, we thought of spontaneous evolution as a noun in the future, and now we recognize it as a verb in the present. It's happening right now. And so how do we get from where we were to where we need to be? And in the final chapter of the book, Bruce and I offer a 3-step program, which, as you know, is guaranteed to work 4 times faster than 12-step. And the 3-step program was evolutionary awareness, evolutionary intention, and evolutionary practice. Well, the awareness is there. The fact that this whole event is about conscious business, there's definitely the indication that we're aware that we do need to evolve into being the human beings that we're meant to be, become humankind through the practice of human kindness. Then there's evolutionary intention. And there are so many people who are recognizing that they want to be part of what the Swami would call the great uprising, where we wake up, wise up, grow up, and show up. We wake up to the illusion of separation. We wise up to the power of love and coherence. We grow up to be the purposeful people we were meant to be, and we show up on a new playing field, ready to play a new game, thrival for each and all. There's the other aspect of evolutionary practice, and I'm so happy to say that as my serious work is continuing, I'm collaborating with 2 amazing people. You'll be hearing about this, I think, in the next several months. One of them is Richard Flyer, who's been working with symbiotic networks. He has something called the Symbiotic Network Lab. And I think he's come up with a great characterization of how we move the golden rule into a state of practice. And he calls it, he takes the word symbiosis, which means mutual benefit, and he's turned it into intentional mutual benefit. And so I'm excited that the spontaneous evolution work is continuing in bringing practical evolution as well. The other project that I'm very excited about is, and you're seeing the background of it right here, this is the official 12 Habits of Unity background. My colleague Elaine Park has written a brilliant and playful book called The 12 Habits of Unity, and this is about taking the golden rule and turning it into monthly habitual practices. So I'm really excited about the blessings that I've received in finding these people who I think have very important keys to bringing the evolution now. Now, I know that you want to see the Swami, and the Swami is waiting, but we have to bring him on. Okay, you have to officially bring the Swami on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to begin singing, and I'm hoping that you will sing this song with me, okay? And when I turn the camera back on, I'll be gone, the Swami will be here, okay? So please stand by. Here comes the song. Swami, how I love you, my dear old Swami. I'd give the world to see the smiling face of Swami beyond Ananda. We're here waiting for you, waiting for you. Where are you, Swami? The folks out here can't wait no more, so walk right through that Swami door. Oh, here I am. Hello, everybody. Okay.
Welcome, Swami Beyondananda.
That's very good. It's wonderful to be here with you at this great evolutionary event at a very, very important time in history. You know, people have been wondering, you know, the age of Aquarius is supposed to be here, and we seem to be stuck in the age of nefarious instead. Well, do not fear, because the golden rule will overrule the rule of gold. And as several people have mentioned, we have been burdened by living thousands of years under the rule of the lowest common denominator. And so that has left a lot of residue on the planet. And so as we are in this moment, we have to ask the question, can we undo the doo-doo that has been done, or will the done doo-doo be our undoing? And the key to this great undoing of the great undo-doo is recognizing the oneness. And part of that, you know, this is partially an event co-sponsored by Humanity's team, and they have World Oneness Day and so on. And it's very, very important that we recognize that we're all one with the same one. And yet each of us is totally unique, just like everybody else. So in this time of great uprising, we need visionaries to counterbalance all of the divisionaries that are out there. And we need more of these positive circles to go around in. We've been going around in circles otherwise, so why not go around in circles with the positive circles, with the evolutionary circles, with the circles of synergy. And by the way, as you know, there is no sin in synergy and no harm in harmony. So I want to ask you, Deborah, if you're there, do you have any specific questions for the Swami?
I do. I always have questions
Am I
for the
putting you on the
Swami
spot?
because I so respect the Swami's wisdom.
Nope, but you're muted. I know you're immutable, but you're apparently mutable
You
right
can't
now.
hear me?
No, she's not muted. She's not muted, Swami.
Were you saying something?
Yes. You can't hear me?
But I didn't hear it.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
Okay, well, I will have
He's
to
not
translate.
hearing me.
I will,
He's not hearing me. How can I ask a question of the Swami? I
oh,
want.
I'm sorry. I cannot hear. I cannot hear what you're saying.
Hmm.
Is your sound on?
Yes, her sound is on, Swami. Steve, it's on.
No.
So there must be a.
No, I'm not hearing because I don't have my sound on. I just flipped my lid. Look at that. I totally flipped my lid on this event. When I put my hat on, I forgot to put my head on. Okay, good.
Can you hear us yet?
There we go. Okay, you got a question.
Can
you hear us? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. That's only because I had my headset on. I thought I had my proper mindset, but I needed the headset with the mindset. Okay, yeah.
We might have to go non-local.
It's the quantum Swami.
Okay, what is the question?
All right, the first question is the
Yeah.
most important one.
Okay.
So what can we do, Swami, to achieve world peace?
What can we do to world peace? Well, all of the inner peace that we're cultivating inside, it's time to let it out and declare all out peace. Because again, we are calling this intentional evolution. You can call it heaven on earth, and heaven begins with us, right? This is the time we say, why don't we go for heaven on earth just for the hell of it? So the way that we create world peace is we begin to live that from the inside out. We begin the practice of heaven on earth. We begin to practice the golden rule. We begin to treat other people as if we intentionally want benefit for everybody. It begins with each of us. And then when we achieve uncritical mass, where we stop criticizing each other, we will create non-judgment day, right? And on non-judgment day, everybody will win a beauty contest.
Perfect. So we've been talking about business this evening.
Yes.
So what do you think about business? What do you think about what business has done in the past and what's possible for business to do in the future?
Well, we've certainly seen a lot of extraction. We've seen a lot of, we have a system that seems to be stuck in greed lock, where greed seems to have a lock on the corridors of power. And this is, again, intentional mutual benefit. We need to actually create small synergy circles and then begin to weave these circles together in functionality and ask, how can we be of service? Because so much has been about taking, and the real thing is about giving. If everybody gave, we would have more than enough, wouldn't we? Right? So we have to actually begin to see that this begins from the inside out. The heaven on earth is from the inside out, and the best way to get to heaven is by starting there.
So I have one last question for you,
Okay.
Swami. Thank you. And that is for the Global Peace Tribe that is listening this evening. What are the things that we can do as a tribe to bring forth this new kind of consciousness?
Well, I think one
and
thing
break
that we,
through the gridlock.
well, one thing that we can do as a tribe is recognize that each of us has a special gift. Everybody has, we've all been given a special gift just for entering. And part of this great uprising is evolving ourselves from children of God to adults of good. And asking ourselves, what is the good that is inside that we can share with everybody outside? Because that is really the fear. You know, we actually have two choices, right? We can feed the wolf of fear or the wolf of love. And the choices are, unfortunately, we are in a position where many, many people are afraid that there's not enough. That is called scarcity. What we need to do is create abundance. Abundance is where we all get up off of our assets, move our buns in rhythm and flow, come together to turn the funk into function and leave the junk at the junction and leave a better world for our children and their children.
The wisdom of Swami Beyondananda. Thank you.
Namaste. Namaste. And namasko. Bye.
Well, while Namaste, Namaskro is going, here's his website. And it's a great website. It's called wakeuplaughing.com. And he's got all sorts of wonderful, wonderful videos, and his radio show and all sorts of really fun stuff. And you can become a patron, just like we became a patron of our wonderful Tatiana Speed. You can become a patron there. And I really want to encourage people to get his book. If you haven't gotten Spontaneous Evolution yet, it's a wonderful, wonderful book. Written by Steve and of course Bruce Lipton. And I'm gonna replace myself with the blank space there. There we go. Yeah, he and Bruce wrote a wonderful book, Spontaneous Evolution. It's really, really fun. And well, here's Steve, who can talk a little bit about it as well. So get the book, Spontaneous Evolution. Patronize the Swami. Maybe we can even get him a hat that'll stay on his head.
This was such a great program. The Swami just flipped his lid. I just can't, what can I say?
It was really, really fun, really fun. People were laughing, and I was like trying to find, everybody was laughing. So it's like, okay, there's Jeffrey laughing, and there's Mannion laughing, and there's, Karen Eisenberg laughing. So it was really kind of fun to just see how you were cracking everybody up. And also I want to acknowledge the wisdom, because of course you have a wonderful sense and a wonderful wit, but I also appreciate the wisdom and the deep care that you have for our planet, Steve. You clearly love humanity, despite all of our perfectly humanness. And thank you for your care and your love of the human race and of our global peace tribe.
Well, may we all win the human race. That's what we're really we're rooting for the humans and the human race. And seriously, those two projects I mentioned are just, I am so excited to be part of these emerging projects. And I know that there's probably hundreds of such projects emerging. And we're shifting from a state of emergency to a state of emergency.
And thank you for lightening us up, Steve.
Thank you.
With your wit and your wisdom. It means so much.
Beautiful.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Steve. See you soon. We had a wonderful special event. Our very first Global Peace Tribe special event was Swami Steve and Louisa Stowe, and they went back and forth between her music and his comedy, and it was a wonderful, wonderful evening. And then we also had an evening just with Steve. That was a big hit.
Oh, I've been a fan of his for so long. I just loved the first book I read of his was Your Karma Ran Over My Dogma.
No, actually, am I on here?
Yes.
I think it's called Drive Your Karma, Curb Your Dogma. No, it's Driving Your Own Karma. Driving Your Own Karma, Tour Guide to Him. See, I never know my own books.
That's
But
it.
my
It was a
karma
long
ran
time ago, but
Yes,
it's
it was.
hilarious. So I recommend Spontaneous Evolution, but also all of the work that Steve Behrman has put out. So definitely check out his website.
Thanks.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to ask Rev Deb to introduce a video. Steve Farrell is a beloved member of Evolutionary Leaders Network. He's been on this show before. And by the way, I'm going to be doing an entire weekend with Steve in October.
Wonderful.
Yeah, in preparation, kind of letting everybody know about his upcoming big event. So we're going to do a weekend.
Which is the Global Oneness Summit.
Exactly.
That happens every year, and many of the evolutionary leaders will be featured on various panels, and there'll be the shout out to Love Day. And Steve is an amazing human being. He does so much, and Humanity's team, as your listeners would know, came out of the vision of Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote Conversations with God, and he's been on this program also many times with his inspiring messages. But Steve comes from the world of business, and his heart really lies in conscious business. And as I mentioned early in the program, he was one of the instigators of the Synergy Circle, whose members have been featured this evening. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the conversation that you had, Scott, with Steve Farrell.
Great. All right, well, here we go. Let's take a look at it. I'm going to go to advanced. I'm going to go to videos, and Steve Farrell interview. And this is a really beautiful communication and conversation, so I invite people to really drop in and enjoy. Steve, thank you so much for taking some time with us. And let's just start with, how do you see conscious business evolving? What are you experiencing?
Well, let me first say, conscious business, it's been something incredibly important for a long time. And now I want to just say it's really urgent. And I'm going to guess viewers, you all can feel into that too, as we look at climate change and these things going on. We don't have the luxury of a year from now, 3 years from now. We really need to get on this now. The pivot needs to begin now. This whole growth at any cost thing that is still the primary model out in the world, where business is really the most powerful institution on the earth. It is. If we stop and think about it, our business leaders are held up in our culture and with great esteem. Our paychecks, the economy, right, is tied to global business. So where business is in the driver's seat and it's driving the train here, boy, it better be conscious, right? Because if it's unconscious, not mindful of these things that we know to be conscious connection, oneness, this whole interior thing, that will have happen what's happening now, where we're fouling our planet, treating the earth like a refrigerator, saying, hey, that we need to get that top line growth up, that bottom line growth. Even youth, go to TikTok and look at these videos and things. And most of them are about, boy, this is how you can manifest, and you train your subconscious to do this. And this is how much money I made. I mean, really? In today's world, with the smoke and the fires and what's happening here with the weather and so on, that we're going to go there, and kind of have a party on the Titanic? Here's the good news is, it's said that we're more than halfway there in terms of really achieving a conscious living on the planet. The hardest part is maybe behind us. because these notions of living consciously, this connection and oneness and interior thing, these things are now out in the world where we can go anywhere in the world and nobody looks at us cross-eyed. However, we haven't made this the central organizing thing. We're not self-identifying as conscious people or as conscious businesses. And this is that part of the hill that we need to climb down, where we just bring to business what we viewers are doing in our own life as we're living consciously, where we're even now, where it's more of a heart and soul thing or right brain thing, that where we're looking out on the world, we see the sacred, right? We're in service to the sacred. There's connection, there's responsibility, there's positive action, and this is what we're doing at work. So now, and I've gone on too long here, so I'll stop in a second. But a lot of people, as we know, are leaving now these jobs where they sense that there's not the meaning, it's not purposeful. I need to, coming out of COVID, I need to do something that's more mindful, purposeful, meaningful. So there's good news here, but we've got to really just crank it up into fifth gear and drive into this whole conscious business future where business can, in the driver's seat, is doing things that are modeling where we want to go, not the opposite of that.
Well, first of all, Steve, you're not going on too long. Everything you're saying is really valuable. This weekend, we're really highlighting the synergy circles. So can you tell us a little bit about the synergy circle for conscious business, and then how people can relate to it or work with it that are not part of the Evolutionary Leaders Network?
You bet. So when we created the Conscious Business Synergy Circle, the thing that we built it around is this Conscious Business Declaration. So, and if you're not familiar with it, just go to consciousbusinessdeclaration.org and you'll see the whole declaration and the partners that are involved. So back in 2015, Humanities Team, our nonprofit organization, we reached out to Urban Laszlo in Europe with his club of Budapest, to Hiro Sianji with the Goi Peace Foundation in Japan, and then Chris Laszlo with the Case Western Reserve University, also here in the United States. So 4 NGOs. And we said, back then, 7 years ago, we said, let's create a conscious business declaration, because these models that are that most of us are aware of, B Corp, conscious commerce, things like that, they take us steps in the right direction. They're positive steps, of course. The PPP, people, planet, profit, good stuff. But this is an outer world focus, right? And when we talk about conscious business, though, what conscious business is, conscious living, conscious business, conscious is now bringing an ultimate reality. What science is now affirming, we can see it everywhere. Now, Sam Harriman's recent research, but lots of other science research as well, where they're affirming that all of life is physical and non-physical, smallest particle to largest object. Everything actually is a part of one thing. You scientists say we're all one. And then they'll use their science language. They'll say we're sovereign to one body. So using mystics or spiritual leaders are sharing we're all one, but using different language. And so now, if this is true and we're all one, then these things that we're all naturally doing, where we're looking out on the world, we see the sacred, we live in this place of connection, right? We in a place of connection. Now, when we talk about conscious business and this interior things going on, our being state is affected. Then we can't. The notion of, well, let's get a GMO going because there's a nice market niche, or boy, there's this fossil fuel opportunity. Let's get on top of that one. Or we can. There's this way of fishing where we can capture even more of the species and make some really nice profits. We can't do these things, as you know. We physically, emotionally, spiritually, we can't do these things. So, because in conscious business, this whole interior thing is going on, and there are 2 litmus tests, not one. So, and the first one is if I start this business and we do this, create this product or create this service, are we going to create a more healthy, sustainable, and flourishing planet? And we have to get a yes. And then we get to the second question of, is there a huge market niche here that we could develop and make some, there's some revenue and profit opportunity. And then we get 2 yeses and we start that business. Where we start that business, we're not going to have time to get into this, but boy, you can, conscious businesses can really go places in today's world. The consumer loves them. So, too often now, we're not getting to that first question. It's just the second question. And so this is what's important and urgent, that we just move in the direction of, I'm going to call it ultimate reality, where, because scientists are even saying, no, this is actually how we're created. This is who you are. So we're just living in alignment with that here, creating our business in alignment with that.
Beautiful. Well, first of all, Ervin Laszlo, I did a pre-record with him, which we're going to play a little bit later on tonight. So thank you for introducing him. And just real quickly, here is the Conscious Business Declaration that Steve just told us about. So again, anybody who wants to read it and learn more, it's consciousbusinessdeclaration.org. And that's where you can learn, more about this beautiful kind of commitment. And so has a big part of your work been getting people to kind of commit to that declaration?
It has, and life in general. So, but in the business realm, yes, because the thing that we get to in this declaration, and the reason we put over a year into creating that short declaration, there's, when you have 4 NGOs and you're trying to get the concepts right and the words right, it's some work. But we made that investment because, again, these other models are doing good, but they're focusing more on the exterior world. The whole interior world was left out. When consciousness talks about, means that we're transformed, right? This whole, we can see the sacred in the world. So we can't, if we're going to get to true conscious business, we can't leave it at the level of people, planet, profit, and just have the exterior world be the focus. As you know, all quadrants, all levels, Ken Wilber says this is the problem today. We live in a flatland, he says, because all the focus is over on the exterior world. We're not mindful of and living in this communing state in our interior world. So that's what we get to here that's different.
Beautiful. I'm going to just remind people again that this Conscious Business Synergy Circle, to learn more about it, if you go to evolutionaryleaders.net, or if you go to the Synergy Circles page, which we're putting into the chat box, and that's where you can learn a little bit more. And of course, tonight we've got Peter and Kurt and Deborah and Larry Clay all with us, as well as, of course, Steve and the video of Reverend Laszlo. So how can people watching, what would you recommend for them to do? How can they participate either in the Conscious Business Synergy Circle or in Humanities Team?
$1 a year for hundreds of programs, that's about the price of one masterclass. If you come down a little further here, as you know, Humanities Team does a Global Oneness Summit every year. It's October 24 is the actual Global Oneness Day. And we've got several panels that are focusing just on conscious business, and invite you to check that out. And then finally, on the Humanities Team website, when you come down, we created this revolutionary conscious streaming platform. It's called Humanity Stream Plus. You can click on it and go in and see these hundreds of programs there. And then it breaks it down by subcategories when you look at come down that Humanity Stream Plus page. The very first subcategory is business and leadership. So click on that. You'll see incredible programs, including my own. I've got a conscious leadership program. There are other conscious leadership programs that you'll see. It's an incredible, it's $399 a year for hundreds of programs, that's about the price of one masterclass. If you come down a little further here, Scott, and just keep coming down, you'll see by category. There you go.
Oh, wow, right.
Business and leadership. So you can click on business and leadership. There are hundreds of programs in here, and it's $399 for a year. And then you, of course, buy it for your own subscription to access these hundreds of programs, the one with Neil and Michael Beckwith, Bernard Beckwith, and Nassim Harriman and Greg Braden, and hundreds of programs. But it also, you gift a free program to somebody underserved, underprivileged that couldn't afford otherwise to have a streaming platform like this in their home. Education is always central to social change. And we created this revolutionary streaming platform, which we're going to bring the price down on for this very purpose. So it can be in every home, in every major language. And when we talk about healing trauma or conscious leadership or awakening to our soul's journey or whatever it might be, you can see all of these topics.
Oh my God, it goes on and on and on. And you've got all of our friends, all of these beautiful people that most of whom have been on our shows, but some of whom haven't. So this is a wonderful way at any time to come in and look at. I mean, I'm really impressed with what you've put together. It's extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. And it just goes on and on and on with just about every imaginable topic that matters to all of us watching this show.
Yeah, it's amazing. Do check it out. And it's inexpensive. As most people are buying at least one masterclass around $400, and here you're accessing hundreds. And you could see on our site, the one that we're launching right now is with Wayne Dyer's daughters. So Sage Dyer, Serena Dyer, Pisoni, and then Karen Noe, who's the medium that first brought Wayne together with the family. And now, wow, they're all on fire because Wayne is still teaching in today's world. That's what this program is about. Unbelievable. You need to come to the program. It's a free program that starts next week if you want to learn about it.
That looks fantastic. So again, messages from the afterlife. So is Wayne kind of talking through these different mediums, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah. And actually, he wrote a book through Karen, and he said, get that book out to the whole world. He said, create a documentary on oneness where the world needs to understand that we're all one. He is out there in today's world. It's don't take my word for it. There's Tuesday night, we're doing our first broadcast of this free program. Check that out. It's a jaw-dropping story.
Fantastic. Steve, thank you so much for the amazing, wonderful work that you do. I always respect what you're doing, and thank you for taking some time to be with us today. And everybody, let's really spend some time on the Humanities Team website, and definitely continue to get to know about these beautiful synergy circles. Steve, thank you.
Scott, thank you for inviting me. And Deborah, thank you very much. And nice to be with all of your viewers here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And there he is. For anybody who doesn't quite know what we were talking about, Wayne Dyer, many people are channeling him, including his daughter. And so, again, if you go to the Humanities Team website, next Tuesday, they're going to have this special event where they're going to channel Wayne Dyer. So Wayne lives on.
And I'd like to point out that Karen Noe, who is the medium, who was first in contact with Wayne after he passed, is also a member of the Evolutionary Leaders.
Amazing.
Just saying.
Amazing.
We have all different kinds of leaders. And I also want to point out that Humanities Stream, the streaming platform that Steve has created, is a really good example of a conscious business. So its purpose is to serve. And he keeps trying to bring the price point down so that it can reach as many people as possible. So he's a man who walks his talk.
Just a brief little program change. Tatiana has asked if she could go next. So almost sure we're going to go back to the original plan for you to close the show out. And we're going to go to beloved Tatiana to introduce, there she is, to introduce our next video. And I need you to take a minute just to tell us a little bit about it, to kind of set it up for people.
Sure. So you're about to hear the song Earth Family. And Earth Family was inspired by the Humanity Earth Charter, which was launched on the International Day of Peace in 2019 by the global organizations Home for Humanity in partnership with Meridian University. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful document. And I was invited by two of the co-authors of this document to create something from it. And so I created this song. And the vision of the song is really that humanity can come together right now and create a united home for all. And I edited the song together with video footage, which features some of the change makers I've met on my journeys and travels. And it also features historic moments in time and historic figures through time who demonstrated that humanity is capable of huge leaps, great change under the right guidance and leadership. And I feel like it is hope for this moment now. So you'll recognize some of them. There's Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Princess Diana, just people that I personally, look up to so profoundly. And I feel like on this call are many incredible emerging leaders that can help turn this ship around. So that is Earth Family, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
It's a beautiful video. I love this video. So, all right, everybody, kick back and enjoy, because you're in for a treat.
Today we come together with a new vision for humanity, to co-create a united Earth family. And with this vision and our shared intuition, we have the potential to bring peace on Earth to fruition. We imagine a world where we take care of all of life, and with this intention we become beacons of light. So let's join together in manifestation to bring about societal transformation. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. We come together to unite, we come together to ignite unity between all forms of life. I see the one in the all and the all in the one. Our hearts beat to the same drum. We come together for the fate of the earth. Every single one of us is needed to rebirth a new community, a new Earth family, a new reality and unity for all humanity. If we educate, we can innovate, create a blank slate for the world to co-create a new fate of societal change and renewal. Indigenous knowledge is a key, is a tool. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. United, 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 let's come together, Earth family. United, 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 let's come together, Earth family. We are co-creators, we are innovators, we are change makers, pioneers and trailblazers, paving a path for an inclusive civilization to arise, a regenerative future for all beings, all life. We nurture cultures of peace and integrity. We celebrate the beauty of our infinite diversity, and from every corner of the world, creative expression paves the way for a future of intimate connection. The leaders of today, the leaders of tomorrow, we have seeds to sow, visions to grow, places to go, and now we know it's time for unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create a united Earth family. From the heart of humanity, we come together in unity to co-create. Let's come together, Earth family.
Such a magnificent video. There's so many comments flying in. Great video. Wow, I want it. I'll put the link to the YouTube. We can get this on YouTube. I'm going to read what Dorina wrote because it kind of sums it up. Dorina writes, every time I see, hear, feel this incredible song, message, and video, it brings tears of joy and new hope, deeper gratitude, and more love for us all. It sounds like the new hymn for the Global Peace Tribe, the awakening world, and all of us beautiful souls sharing so much inner and outer beauty, joy, and love around the world and beyond. Thank you, Tatiana, Scott, Reverend Deborah, and everyone from Dorina in Ecuador.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Dorina.
And that's one of about 20 comments that have come in while this was playing. It's just beautiful. Rev Deb, what comes up for you as you watch this video?
Oh, I'm just, not only am I moved by the music and the beautiful singing, but the images of all of those heroes of our present day and the past truly give me hope for the human spirit. If humanity could produce those people, we can produce also the leaders that we need right now, today.
I just got full chills when you said that. Thank you. No, that is exactly my vision. I was imagining just like right now, just like thousands upon thousands of Martin Luther Kings, like doing their work and preparing to, and Gandhis and Mother Teresa's. And I think that these leaders are coming and they're here now and they're in development, and yeah.
And their spirit is alive in all of us. Thank you, Tatiana, for bringing that forward with your powerful music.
Thank you.
And one more time, I want to really encourage everybody to support Tatiana. I've joined her Patreon program. I'm very excited about it. So again, you can go to her website. It's her name, TatianaSpeed.com. And let's all support her. Or you can also go to her new Patreon page. And again, I'll pull that up. And I've also put into the chat box her YouTube video. So for those of you who want to, see this again and again, share it with your friends. I've put that in there, and it's so wonderful. And can you imagine how much time it's taken her to edit this, right?
A fair amount of time.
A lot of time. And Patreon is just a wonderful, wonderful way to support our friends. So I really want to encourage everybody. I'm going to take a moment. So this is where is it? Here's my Patreon page here. So I just, I'm now supporting Tatiana, but this is how I support Nina Gray, Becky Suzik, Larissa Stroh, Travis Puntarelli, Cornflower. These are all people you've seen on The Awakening World, and I love supporting them on a monthly basis. And what's cool is they know they've got a little monthly income coming in, but they all send out their new videos, their visions, their ideas. Each person's a little bit unique with what they send out. But it's really fun when you're going through your email and you're deleting all the bullshit. And then all of a sudden you see there's something new from Tatiana, or there's a new video from Nina Gray, or there's a new poem from Travis Puntarelli. And it's really, it's a wonderful way for us to really create more connection to our artists. So please join Patreon, support Tatiana and all of the people that you enjoy the most here on The Awakening World. And Tatiana, thank you so much for being with us, and hopefully we'll see you again very, very soon.
I would love that. Love that. Such an honor to be with all of you. Thank you for creating such a glorious space for all these leaders to share their messages, Scott. It's just beautiful. So honored
And
to be here.
I'm not going to put the spotlight on them since they're shy, but since your grandparents are watching, I just want to say thank you. Whatever choices you've made, all that you've done for her to turn out the way she has, this beautiful artist with a heart of gold. So thank you, Grandma and Grandpa Tatiana Speed, whatever your name might be. Thank you, and I'm sure you're very proud of your granddaughter, and she's a blessing in our world, so thank you.
Wow, Scott, thank you. Brought tears to my eyes. Thank you so much.
I always love honoring the parents and grandparents of the people that we love because they've played such a big role.
And Scott, you honor everyone. This is your gift to the world. Truly, the support that you give to all of the artists and the respect that you show for all of the speakers and just bringing everyone together in this global peace tribe. We treasure you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, what a beautiful world that we do live in. And at least, there's so many funky things going on in the headlines, but I love every weekend I get to see Mannion and Jeffrey Colebrook and Karen Eisenberg, and then whoever our presenters are and whoever our guests are, and and everyone's so beautiful. And so it brings inspiration to me. And for you, Jeffrey, yes, Lovolution is the solution. We will say that at least once a week.
You are the new consciousness, Scott Catamas.
We are the new consciousness. And thank you, Reverend Deborah, for all that you do with Evolutionary Leaders Network and the Garden of Light.
So this has been a long program. A lot of people have stayed up late to be with us. And all of them are in for a treat because they're about to meet somebody who is one of our very most special evolutionary leaders, one of them who received the Synergy Superstar Award. There is nobody on the planet quite like Dr. Ervin Laszlo. You may not all know his name, but you want to, and you want to read his books, including his most recent book, Upshift, because he is a scientist, he is an amazing evolutionary leader, and he has always had his finger on the pulse of what's coming next. And as Steve Farrell said, he's one of the founders of the Conscious Business Declaration, but that is just like a small piece of this man's extraordinary consciousness. So I'm so looking forward to the interview that you did with him, Scott, with Professor Ervin Laszlo.
Here we go. Well, thank you. It's such an honor to have you with us, coming all the way from beautiful Tuscany. And please let us know, let's just start with how you've watched the conscious business movement take place over the years.
Well, I have not watched this very closely. I'm aware of it, and I have been concerned with it, and I'm encouraged by it. Obviously, there are major problems still remaining, and those have to be dealt with. And I have some ideas on what the problem is and possible ways in we can deal with it.
And so tell us a little bit about what inspired you to create the Conscious Business Declaration and your collaboration with the Synergy Circle.
Well, altogether, conscious, whatever, whether that is business or politics or communication or media, consciousness in the sense in which you treat it in the Business Declaration is an absolute necessity. It's a way over-timed necessity, something that should have been addressed very, very seriously as a central issue of our time. You know, about business in particular, I always had some misgivings. I grew up as a child. For my first 16 years of my life, I lived in Hungary. And I lived there for the last few years under a communist dictatorship. And there, the big issue was always business, nationalized business, public, or private, or the private sector. We were particularly involved with that as my family owned a small shoe factory, and we were considered to be the private sector, but that was too nationalized, and my father was taken out of it. And then the party assigned the people, the Communist Party, who would run it. And then, of course, it was largely mismanaged. because this idea of not being any private sector is a fallacy. It doesn't work. You can't just do business as a public element. On the other hand, business as purely private is something wrong with that. Basically it's a fallacy. Private, you know. The French have a term privé. It means also deprived or taken out from something, from people, to be privé, to be deprived. And private means that you are not responsible. You do what you want. It's your business.
Yeah.
And that is a very great problem, because business, when it's handled as private, then of course means you can do what you want, as long as you don't break the laws, at least not overtly, and you comply with the most basic regulations. But beyond that, you can try to do as well as you can to make money, to do profit. People profit, planet and profit, but people usually come last in the practice of business. Profit comes first, then increasingly somewhat the people come in, and then the planet comes in perhaps last. But a private business is an irresponsible actor in the scene. Mm-hmm. It can be regulated, of course, but if you regulate it by external means, by national regulations, with an international, there's hardly anything, there's very little. I mean, so that business can operate as it wants on the international level. And that has led to many of these exploitations of resources and of people. There's many of the problems. But the business has to be public, a public affair. That doesn't mean in the hands of bureaucrats who are going to use it in the interest of their own narrow political interest, which was the mistake of Marxism, Leninism in practice. Marx has a few brilliant ideas in his young days, you know, as we know, about being a humanist and trying to pull everything together under a common goal. But this did not work in practice, and it's not something good that we try to make it an administrative, bureaucratic structure. Business has to be free, but not irresponsibly free, not free beyond the limits. Business needs to operate within the constraints, not of people and of politicians, but the constraints of evolution and existence on this planet. We have way overpassed these constraints. We have overexploited resources, the environment. We have disbalanced the entire climate tech sector as we now experience all too strongly, actually. And we have created competition and conflict, and sometimes to rather inhuman and rough ways. So business could operate somewhat better, but who can do it? My proposition is that it cannot be done from above, from any group from any institution that isn't even a really global set of institutions that are nascent regulations on the international level, but they're not really hemming in, not really constraining business, powerful business. But what we need to do is to allow people to take a part in the running of business, to be a public, to be a private enterprise, not in the sense of deprived from the rest or being separate from the rest, but being in the hands of people who feel that they are part of something. Your business declaration is so beautiful because you talked about being part of a larger unit. And that means, as I come back to this point, I think it's so important, not just having regulators coming in on the scene, but being self-regulated, not purely by intellectual means. I do this because I can make more profit, or I can have more power, greater market share, but coming in on that because I feel that this is the right thing to do. Is this overly optimistic, overly idealistic? If it is, it's too bad, because then business will not operate the way it should in the public interest. I think business people, increasingly now that we have all of these challenges, all these crises coming our way, increasingly are realizing the role, the positive, the important role that business can play, and the relatively poor role, irresponsible role it has played in the past. Anything goes as long as you can get away with it. That's perhaps the worst of the wrong philosophy. But do it right means feeling it, that it's our job, our task, being part of a larger evolutionary unit, a constructive part. I think the great business leaders in the past have done that, have felt like that. And Andrew Mellon and Dale Carnegie, and Henry Ford, and other people, JP Morgan also, they often talked about business as a social agent. And this is, my son, for example, Christopher Laszlo, is teaching this whole idea of business as an agent of social benefit. Mm-hmm. This is cropping up. It has to develop in such a way that it takes over the conduct in business, not just because we are constrained to do something, but because we want to. And that's a big difference. It calls for a new mindset. On my side, I'm trying to develop a new paradigm for living on Earth, which includes a new paradigm for being a business person, being a part of a whole. So that my message is, we have got to change our mind, a new mindset. We can cope. I think we can cope. That's why I think I'm a possibilist.
Thank you so much for your beautiful time. And again, everybody, let's all join the Upshift movement. It's a wonderful way to continue to connect with each other and very global, which is one of the things that I notice here. And an opportunity for us to write about too. So thank you so much, sir, for your time and your beautiful dedication to our world.
Thank you indeed. And namaste, and all you and our friends of the Evolutionary Leaders. Thank you for this opportunity to discuss these things. They come from my heart.
This man who just celebrated his 90th birthday launched the Upshift movement to change the world. I really want to urge everybody to go to upshiftmovement.com and join, be part of it.
You know, what's beautiful about it too is when you join, and I did this a couple of days ago after I did my interview with him, and I'm bringing it up as we talk. When you join, it asks you, okay, what is your contribution? What are you going to do? Here we go. I've got it. Took a moment for it to load. So if you take a look, it's again upshiftmovement.com, and then you come into join. And when you come into join, it asks you what you're going to do. And it won't let you join until you fill out the comments. You can't just give your name and email address. You got to really say, this is what I'm going to do. It's a really beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'll put it in the chat box right now. And I really encourage everybody to please participate.
And he says right on this, the homepage of the Upshift movement, now is the time to change the world. Now, as we emerge from the crises triggered by an aggressive virus, an aggressive political leader, and the irresponsible ravaging of the ecology of the planet, these are crises that shake the world, and they open the way to a new world. That is the spirit of Reverend Laszlo.
Reverend Deb, what a beautiful couple of nights we've had. I've so enjoyed it. And I want to let people know before we close out with some Omushar music that, of course, we always have our Sacred Sunday show. And the Sacred Sunday show is again going to be spotlighting a very special synergy circle. And I'll let you talk about that for a moment. Tell us about Artists Catalyzing Evolution.
This is one of our newest synergy circles. It's quite different from all of the others, which are all about ideas. And this one is different because it's about the arts. And it was founded by someone who is beloved of the Global Peace Tribe, my precious soul daughter, Kristin Hoffman, along with Kaeshi, who is also an evolutionary leader. And I first saw her on this program as well on one magical Saturday night. And they will have with them two other members of this artist circle, Reverend Retta Morgan, who is a powerful voice, and Kara Stonehouse, who is a very talented graphic artist who's done some wonderful visual work. So it's going to be a beautiful sacred Sunday. I, as always, will be off singing in my choir, but I hate to miss a program that Kristin co-hosts with you.
And we're going to see Kristin do a couple of spontaneous songs, and Kaeshi dancing spontaneously. And you mentioned Kara. This is some of her artwork. This is one of the things that she's created, and it's a circle of all the different aspects of our new world, and all that we need: visionaries, veganism, peace and spirituality, film festivals, and then all these little images and little thoughts that she's applied to it. And she and Reverend Retta are going to collaborate with Reverend Retta spontaneously singing to some of Kara's poetry.
Oh my.
Words. So it's going to be
it's going to be so special.
It's going to be really special. That's tomorrow morning, of course, a Sacred Sunday show.
And you know, this is the thing. This is what we were talking about when Steve Behrman was on and sharing Swami Beyondananda with us. We need all the color, all the life that the arts bring. And I love the way you always weave the arts into these programs, Scott, because we are not just thinking beings, we are feeling beings. And to touch our hearts, it's important to see the color of what Kara can create and to hear the magnificence of Kristin's voice and others. So everybody, I want to encourage you to be here tomorrow morning if you're not off singing in a choir.
That's 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern. And if you haven't registered, please register so you get the link. Otherwise, all the people in our Zoom room, for example, have registered. That's how they get into the Zoom room. And it's really good to be in the Zoom room. And next generation is what we're going to be seeing tomorrow. It's the next generation, because most of these are younger people than.
And what a special group of people you have in the Zoom room who have been giving us such insightful comments all evening long, and not just thoughtful and insightful, but also supportive and loving and heart-based. This is truly the Global Peace Tribe.
Well, thank you so much for that acknowledgement. I love our Global Peace Tribe. I'm going to go to gallery view for a moment. So everybody turn on your cameras and wave, because this is our family. And of course, a lot of people don't turn the cameras on, but look, we've got people, Pure Essence from the UK, and Mark from San Diego, and Mannion, and now I feel bad because I'm not mentioning everybody, but Storm, and all of these friends that we love so much, Jeffrey and
Sparkle.
There you go. God bless all of our Global Peace Tribers. Noel and Dia and Susan and Scotty Satori and Maui. And of course, there's Tatiana, Monica, and Margie, and many, many others. And I apologize, Eleanor Joy from up in British Columbia. So we love
and Ayata and Dr. Laura and Karen, and it's just such a beautiful community.
Aren't they? Just
blessings to everyone.
Doug.
Let's all send some healing to each other.
And I want to send special healing to Storm, whose daughter is going through some very significant challenges. So Storm, extra love for you, for your daughter, and may you find the perfect next step in her journey. We love you, Storm, and thank you. Blessings. Well, with that, I'm going to put the spotlight on Omashar to complete our beautiful evening with some music.
Are you ready?
We are.
Good. I believe in true love. It's opened up my heart, leading me, leading you to new beginnings. And I believe in the one love that takes you by the hand, and you hear in a whisper of something to show you. Each day a new creation, a golden path before us. Our angel wings, they open and soar us to new heights of understanding.
I put Jeffrey on there because he just has been moving and grooving to music so much all night long. So Jeffrey, you have a new role as one of our official dancers.
Yes.
You could be the official dancing with the stars of the awakening world.
I'm sorry, it's embedded. I'm a dancer. I can't get rid of it. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's fantastic. I love it. I love it. That's great. I'm going to go to gallery view one more time. Let's all twinkle. Our beloved Omashar. Thank you so much, Omashar.
Hey, you're very welcome. I'm going through a bit of jet lag and what is it? altitude sickness at the moment. Very interesting. From sea level to 5,500 feet where I am is a weird one. First time I felt that. I know.
Well, we wouldn't have known you did it.
Yeah, I had to use my bells and whistles to make my voice sound a bit clearer.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And I want to thank Reverend Deb. She does such a great job. I love having you co-host. We got to make this like a monthly thing because I really, and we have a lot of other evolutionary leaders we still need to meet, and a lot of circles left. And along those lines, real quickly, just to remind everybody, do go to evolutionaryleaders.net, get to know all these wonderful, wonderful souls, and absolutely please go to Answer the Call under activities. And if you haven't signed this document already, they're really close to 50,000. We're getting close. You could be the 50,000th person. And if you are the 50,000th person, you get a personal phone call from Reverend Deb Moldow thanking you. No, really, it's beautiful. And also, we've talked about our moment of choice. We did a whole show on this beautiful book where we had Reverend Michael Beckwith and some of the other authors, 40 plus amazing authors. It's a beautiful book. So if you haven't ordered it yet, please, please, please get our moment of choice. And you can get it from Amazon or Barnes and Noble or IndieBound or Beyond Words. So these are ways to support Reverend Deb. Of course, always, I've already signed up on this about 12 times. But definitely sign up on the newsletter. And thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you, Jasmine Bear. Oh, she's getting tired.
She's yawning. It's secure. It's like,
it must be bedtime.
It's bedtime. It is. She goes to sleep earlier than I do, and she wakes up earlier than I do. That's kind of how it flows. But thank you so much. And people have been asking to see Jasmine Bear, so here she is with her special Sedona summer cut and her David Bowie t-shirt. This is her David Bowie t-shirt. I don't know if you can see it. But we had to get her a t-shirt so she wouldn't get sunburned. Reverend Deb, thank you so much. And thank you, our wonderful Global Peace Tribe audience. I sure hope to see some of you tomorrow on the Sacred Sunday show. And next week, I didn't show what we're doing on Friday night and Sunday, and I do want to do that. I'm glad I thought about it. On Friday night, two of my closest friends, Donnie Regal and Heather Salmon, I introduced them. They met through me many, many years ago, and they've created the Black Swan Temple, and they teach all about mystical alchemy. And it's a very beautiful, powerful practice. So that's going to be next Friday night. And then, of course, you saw earlier when we talked about we're going to be really honoring Hiroshima and the pathways to peace. And that's going to be on Saturday night. And Jonathan Granoff, is he an evolutionary leader?
He, in many ways, he is.
But he's not officially part of.
Not officially in the community, but I've known him for so many years through our mutual work for peace at the United Nations, and he is of a clarion call for the end of nuclear weapons.
Yeah, and then of course Chief Phil Lane.
He is in the community.
Yeah, so that's going to be next Saturday night, and then on Sunday. Next Sunday is when we're having the memorial celebration of Celestine Starr, who passed away. And so it's going to be a double header. In the morning, we've arranged for this wonderful woman, Linda Starwolf, who's a shamanic breathwork person, is going to lead us on a 45-minute practice to drop in and connect to the spirit of Celestine. So that's going to be my Sacred Sunday show next week. And then we'll have a little break. And then in the afternoon, we're going to live stream the memorial service for Celestine. So that's going to be next Sunday.
Every weekend. I don't know how you do it. You put together 3 magnificent shows. Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure. Thank you, Reverend Deb. Thank you, Global Peace Tribe. I'm going to go to gallery view one last time. So everybody smile and send your love. And we will look forward to hopefully seeing you either tomorrow or next week. God's blessings, everybody. Take care.
Marcos. Sparkle, sparkle.
Sparkle, sparkle.